Paul Pogba is ready to wait until the end of the season to decide his future, and is willing to listen to all options, which could include, Danny, proposals from Premier League clubs.
He's out of contract, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's out of contract in 4 months. And he wants to reportedly park talks of his next deal to concentrate on his return from a groin injury and have a strong end to the campaign. But not ruling out, it would seem, it's being suggested, staying in England and playing for another club. Is he worth a gamble? Basically, that's the bottom line question, Danny. Is he worth a gamble to any other Premier League club?
Yes. Depending on the club, but yes.
Right.
Because what he can do with the football in terms of creativity and his passing is there's only a few players in the Premier League who can do it. You know, he can see all the pictures. He can open you up, score a goal. I've always said if he played as a 10 with 2 midfielders behind him who had legs and who had the defensive mindset to let him go and play free. The Fernandes role, basically. I said this when he came. Fernandes and Pogba, although they play well together because they're both intelligent, they're both luxuries in terms of your defensive play. So it was one or the other for me. When Fernandes came, I thought it was obvious that Pogba would leave. That didn't happen. Yeah. And they have at times, to their detriment, trying to find space for both of them in the team. Problem is when you play the top teams, if you're carrying 2 defensively, you get done, which we've seen time and time again. But if you were to say, if Newcastle came in for Pogba and brought him in and played him as a 10, with two holding midfielders behind him, and Callum Wilson up top, who whichever forward they buy to take Callum Wilson's place, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Danny, you absolutely read my mind. Simon, when you look at it, he's been linked with Paris Saint-Germain, but it hasn't happened. Will he go back to Juventus, where he played for 4 years? Maybe, but maybe not. And then you look elsewhere. Would Pep have... No, Pep was offered him reportedly by Raiola, and it didn't happen. Would Klopp want him a little bit? And on it goes. If Newcastle survive in the Premier League, is that where he's thinking?
You wonder what Pogba could have become if United weren't in such a state of flux for such a long period of time. I've not been enamoured with his performances at time, and certainly not that carnival of horrors that goes with him, led by that P.T. Barnum ghastly character, Mino Raiola, that causes all the mayhem that he can possibly bring to the equation. But is unarguably an incredibly talented footballer in amongst all of this nonsense and background noise, whether it's his background noise with Mourinho or his problems full stop, and the lack of performance of a sustainable level that have given you the idea that Pogba was worth the money that he was paid for. But you look at him and say, a lot of that has also got to be Manchester United's responsibility, because they haven't fitted him into the framework in the way that Juve fitted him in, and didn't afford him the same luxury that Juventus afforded him to be able to become the player that he was. He doesn't play the same way for United as he plays for the French team, because again, he hasn't got the same responsibilities or obligations upon him. So could he go to another club in the Premier League? Well, yes, he could.
And who could pay him 200 grand a week?
Well, anybody could pay him 200 grand a week if they didn't have to pay a transfer fee for him. Right, let's think about it, right, in real terms. With the exception of the bottom 6 teams in the Premier League that don't have the budget and wouldn't have the wherewithal or the interest probably from the player, right? You look at it and say, if you've got no transfer fee for Pogba, then most of these clubs there on above can afford to pay him XYZ. Now, I don't know where we're getting 200 grand a week from. I suspect it would probably be a lot more than that. And that might well be the stumbling block. But if Newcastle were to make a statement, those are the kind of statements that you would think they'd make. I just don't think that Newcastle have enough pedigree, irrespective of the project and irrespective of the embarrassment of riches, for Pogba to go there now, because this is his last big contractual move. He'll still want to win things, and there's still going to have to be a gestation period between Newcastle turning into a club that's got immense wealth to a club that translates that immense wealth into a winning club.
Simon, you and I both know if they stay up, all change at Newcastle.
Do you think, seriously, as we sit and live and breathe here
Pogba
today,
and another 5.
Chelsea and Man United and Liverpool and Man City are going to sit there and go, okay, you got a big man of money, in you come. Right? They're all going to be competitive. The bar is going to have to be raised so high. And what's going to happen to Newcastle is they're going to be dragged into a competition of how much money they're going to have to pay for players that potentially United, Liverpool, Chelsea and Man City don't actually want.
Yeah, but their ambition will step up enormously if they can somehow survive in the Premier League.
I think what you have to remember
we were to a degree surprised that Kieran Trippier went there at this time.
He's 31.
At every level, I think it's different. Every player, when they come to move, you can only make a choice based on people wanting you, and that changes obviously on the calibre of player. But Pogba has got to a point where I think there are a lot of big clubs out there who won't take the risk on him because it's
Yeah.
It's destabilising to the team, maybe. I think if you bring him in, he's better going to a team where he's going to be the big fish. And the team's going to be built around him. And Newcastle, I could see that happening. I don't know.
See it happening.
But, and Simon's right to a degree in the fact that if Real Madrid say, you know what, you're on a free, we'll take you. Or Barca. And they want to rebuild a little bit, and him being, especially in terms of merchandise, and
it meets the profile of club that he would expect himself to play for. If he goes to Newcastle, and again before Newcastle fans start getting up on their high horses, Newcastle are going to be a powerful club if we are led to believe that the money that's available is going to be spent. Right? There's no reason to disbelieve that.
There's no reason to doubt
There's no reason to disbelieve that. But there was going to be a period of time like there was with Manchester City, where you're going to, before you get the lights on, you're going to have to build and make some mistakes and change some management criteria and so on and so forth. Now, Pogba's looking at this going, I'm Paul Pogba. Irrespective of what I think of him and other things of him, I've played for Juventus, I've played for France, I'm a World Cup winner, I'm still at 29 years of age, I've got another big move in me. Is Newcastle that big move that's going to win me something in the next 3 years? And there's a distinct argument that suggests that maybe it isn't. Because it takes a bit, you can't just, I know we've made the argument, and I've made the argument about Pep spending money to buy a team, but he took it off a platform that was already there. They'd already won the Premier League when Pep came in and spent the next bag of cash. They'd already won it under Mancini. They'd already been in situ with 7 years worth of money from, first of all, Tijuana Archer, then on to Sheikh Mansour.
Yeah.
Newcastle cannot, and maybe I'll be wrong, cannot just come in and switch on the lights and say, bye-bye Chelsea, bye-bye Man United, bye-bye Liverpool, bye-bye Man City.
I
think we're just...
They want status signings. That is when
you'll find... talking about Pogba.
Pogba would be a status signing.
But would Pogba want to take that move, suggesting that he's got to wait for the project to manifest himself when he's got one last big move left in him?
Depends what other options he's got.
That's the key.
But also, that is when Newcastle will go back to Leo for Sven Botman. That's when Newcastle will really spread their wings and say, look at us, we are the richest club in the world.
But if you're Sven Botman and you're wanted by Newcastle, or you're wanted by Chelsea, or Liverpool, or Manchester City, or Man United, or PSG.
Yeah, you're still going.
You're still going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So Newcastle have got a while to go, but they've given themselves a massive opportunity to be in that situation. But it's going to take a while.
Yeah, but Danny, you can see Pogba at Newcastle. That's what you're saying this morning. You could see it.
I could see the reason behind them trying to sign him.
Yeah.
And I could certainly see him making a difference, especially if he played in that position. Do I think he'd go there ahead of Madrid or Barca when he's 29? No. Even if they double the money, because if he's earning $250 in Spain and he wants $500 a week for the last few years, I mean, he's probably got enough. I would imagine the footballing challenger going to one of the biggest clubs in Spain would overtake the money, but who knows? I don't know him.
Is it embarrassing for United? They've let it drift to this, Simon. He's out of contract in 4 months.
That's like saying is it embarrassing for Chelsea that De Bruyne has ended up and Mo Salah have ended up two of the best players the Premier League's ever seen, and they let them go. It's time moments in time.
But if he walks into another Premier League club for free and then shows us that this is the Paul Pogba that clicks into gear, this is the one we all knew was alive and well.
We've seen glimpses of that.
It'd be a bit embarrassing for United.
Well, I think Simon alluded to...
You touched on it, Simon. They haven't used him properly, or as properly as they could have done.
He hasn't covered himself in glory, but I also think some of the culpability for the lack of a consistent, sustained attainment from Pogba has been the utilisation of him. The ineffectiveness of the managers that have been there haven't utilised him properly. The war that he had with Mourinho wasn't beneficial to either one of them. So you look at it and say, look, Pogba going into another side, if he goes to Barcelona and sets the world on fire, you're still going to look at Man United and go, what did you do with him? If he went to Udinese and set the world on fire, you'd still say, why didn't Man United get the best of him?
I don't think he's going to go to Udinese.
No, I know, but I'm going from the sublime to the ridiculous. I would think you'd recognise that, going from the sublime to the ridiculous.
If he goes to any team that's dominant in their respective league, he's going to shine because they'll dominate the ball and he's brilliant with the football.
Yeah.
When he plays in a team where he has to defend a lot and has defensive responsibilities, he struggles a bit more. The amazing thing with Pogba is when you watch him play for France, especially the time when they won the World Cup, is that he can do the defensive stuff. So I think there is a bit of blame for United over the years, but there's also a lot of blame on his own shoulders. Is he a wonderful talent? Yes. Is he going to stay at United? No.
Well, let's find out. Let's hear from some of the listeners this morning. 03717 223344. Pogba reportedly ready to wait until the end of the season to decide in his future. Willing, we are told, to listen to all options. If Newcastle was an option, and it is, Newcastle fans, would you welcome Paul Pogba at St James's Park in the North East? Give us a call on that. It's an intriguing thought because it looks like he's out of there in 4 months. 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.